man, I still think, and I'm going to show you just like when I put this together and looked at it, I was like, man, this could work. Like, this could really work. I think it could draw fan engagement. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode on the College Underdogs YouTube channel. I am your host, Trey Smith, and we have got some fun stuff to dive into today. So if you watched the video from a couple of days ago talking about Josh Pate and Sonny Dykes and their comments on separation, and we got into a discussion over there on that video, the discussion thread was phenomenal. So many great thoughts and ideas. In fact, I've got a couple I'm going to pull up on this video to talk about as far as what this particular video is about. But man, there were a couple of thoughts even sort of in favor of separation that as I was reading, it started bringing me around on the idea. I'm not going to say I'm fully there yet, but in the event that separation in college football is inevitable, which it might be with the way things are going, whether it be the NIL separation, whether it be the new transfer portal ruling from, what was that, several weeks ago, where now you can transfer year to year and not have to sit a year, even if you're a second-time non-grad transfer, which how are you supposed to build a G5 program with that rule being instated? I guess the balance to that is you know, the adage, the transfer portal giveth, the transfer portal taketh away. So some of these top tier G5 programs that lose their players to Power 5 programs, they will also be a good landing spot, attractive landing spot for Power 5 talent that's looking to move as well. We've seen that already with teams like Memphis and Tulane, even Boise State, pulling in Malachi Nelson, the former 5-star quarterback from USC. So anyways, we'll see how all that shakes out. I just know it's getting more and more difficult to build and sustain G5 programs. So it does appear that separation might be inevitable. I hope it is not. And I hope the idea that I present on this video today will be the direction that the stakeholders and decision makers choose to take this thing. The one thing I want to clarify from the video the other day is just that my ultimate point was simply this. The separation between the top tier P4 programs and the mid lower tier G5 is certainly getting wider. I wasn't trying to dispute that. What I was saying is that the P4 separation amongst the P4 top tier programs and everyone else is just as wide. And that the separation between your top tier G5 programs and mid to low tier P4 programs, which there are a lot of them, is not as wide as some narratives might make you believe. I think it's actually a closer gap than one might think. So if there's really going to be separation in college football, and maybe I'll dive into this later this summer, but it needs to be amongst the elites of the Power 4 and then the rest of the Power 4 in the G5. Like you could almost maybe make your top half of your G5 and your bottom, I'm not even going to say half because it's a lot more than half of your P4 and sort of put them in their own group and see what they did. That would probably be a parity-filled competitive division of college football. But that is not what today's about. I just rabbit trailed there, but maybe I need to footnote that for a future video. What I want to talk about today are responses from a couple of commenters. And listen, I'm going to pull them up here on the screen. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that now. You see these 3 comments. These are not the only ones from that video or from Twitter X, which, by the way, if you're not following me on Twitter X, go ahead and give me a follow at I'm Trey Smith. But these were just the ones I was able to grab early. They commented fairly, early on in the video, and I'm way behind on responding to comments on that video. There's been a couple videos since then. Hopefully you guys like the short I did about the all-time MAC conference lineup. I'll be making one of those for each G5 conference. Those will be releasing over this weekend and next week. But look at these. All right, we've got Rather than a G5 playoff, there should be an NIT-style consolation tournament with P5 and G5 participants. Mr. Jara, what about another NIT-style playoff for G5 with CFP still open to appropriate deserving teams like a 2021 Cincinnati, 2007 Boise, 2015 Houston, 2011 TCU, 2017 UCF, and then you had DePaul 11-15. I like the idea of the 4 out of 9 conference champs not in the playoff facing off in a 4-team bracket tournament with current bowls hosting the matchups. Most years this would, and sorry, I wasn't able to get the whole comment on the screen, but the gist of it is there. But here's what I like about this. I like the idea of keeping that access piece for the G5 to the CFP, but then sort of creating your own NIT-esque, 4-team playoff amongst the 4 G5 conference champs that got left out. And I think if you rotated them to the right bowls, that could be a very engaging something that would draw a broader audience and fan engagement, essentially. And I'm going to put up a couple of models of what that might look like here in just a second. But the one thing I want to say as a preface to this, because I already know someone's probably already typing this in the comments, is if there's any model out there that is a separate G5 playoff, that will give the decision makers with the CFP the ammunition they need to completely do away with G5 access to the CFP. Totally understand that and know that is that is the one hiccup that could make this model impossible. But man, I still think, and I'm going to show you just like when I put this together and looked at it, I was like, man, this could work. Like, this could really work. I think it could draw fan engagement. I think it could keep that G5 access to the CFP, keep that underdog access in. And as I said a couple of days ago, man, I don't know, right? But I do think on a given year, you could catch a matchup where either A, the G5 conference champion wins that first round, or you could have a scenario where the G5 representative gets a first week bye. I mean, think about this for a second. There's a lot of parity in the Big 12 right now. You could potentially see a 3, if not a 4-loss Big 12 champion. Would the committee put a 3 or 4-loss Big 12 champion in that top 4 over an undefeated or 1-loss G5 champion? I don't know that they would. So that's where you could see a team like Boise, which would be tougher for Boise because the Mountain West Conference has a lot of parity as well. A team like Tulane, a team like Memphis, App State, one of these teams on the rise, Texas State even. We'll see what G.J. Kinney's got locked and loaded for year 2. But my point is I think if you had an undefeated or 1-loss G5 conference champion, probably most likely undefeated, who even has like a Power 5 victory on the resume, I think they could get that 4th seed over a 3-loss Big 12 champion. And I think a 3-loss Big 12 champion with their new look conference is something that could happen because that's probably of the P4 conferences, the one with the most parity. Anyways, didn't mean to rabbit trail. Let's look at the model here. So I've kind of named it the GFP. All right. If we want to keep the NIT, stay in the NIT, we could go NIP, the National Invitational Playoff, but I think that's stupid. But I know that the commissioners, or at least the 2 I've talked to, hate the Group of 5, G5 terminology. We all know how Mike Oresco felt about it, but then even Gloria Navarez, I remember last year when I was interviewing her on this channel, I had asked her before I started, I said, hey, so if I refer to this as the G5, or, is that all right? And she's like, just call it our group. Just call it our group. We really need to come up with a term for you media guys. Anyways, so if you look at this from what would have been a season ago, yes, I know SMU is in the ACC now, but they were the AAC champion. So Liberty would have been that playoff bid, okay? And then you would have had a 4-team playoff of Troy, SMU, Boise, and Miami, Ohio. If we had Miami, Ohio, and Boise playing in the Las Vegas Bowl, SMU and Troy playing in the Alamo Bowl, and then their national, the GFP national title game being in NRG Stadium, just like the championship game was for the CFP last year. You play it the Saturday before the national title game, and man, I think you might have something here. I think that you will have all the same media coverage at the same location, right? So college game day, Saturday doing the preview, and look, they would still probably be covering the Monday night game that was getting ready to happen, but still, you got the same media coverage. It's on a Saturday night, which I don't know, when people are actually watching college football instead of on a Monday night, which I still don't understand why they play that CFP championship game on Monday night. But I think this could work. And then if you were to fast forward to, a look at this year, the 2024 season, again, these aren't like my official predictions, so relax. But I just wanted to throw some other other options up there. So let's say Fresno runs the table over there in the Mountain West. They win it out. They're the highest ranked. They be in the CFP. And then you had App State and Toledo, Liberty, UTSA. App State, Toledo in the Liberty Bowl, UTSA and Liberty in the Holiday Bowl. So you're rotating those bowl games. And then, of course, I said already, Fresno in the CFP. And then the championship game being at Mercedes-Benz the Saturday before the CFP. So you got the GFP and the CFP, and the GFP doesn't necessarily replace the G5's access to, but so kind of wanted y'all to see this visual, get your thoughts on it. I'll bring it back down now. So here's my questions on this. Okay, a couple questions I have. First off, what bowl sites should this rotate through if this model were to exist? Obviously I had the Las Vegas, Holiday, Liberty, and Alamo Bowl. Okay, is that a good rotation, or would you throw some other ones in there? Would you replace those? Is 4 enough that you rotate year to year? Do you do 6 and just, every 3 years it rotates? When are these GFP games played? Obviously, you'd want to stagger them with when the CFP games are being played, but that's certainly easily possible to do. And then, of course, the championship game, do you like that being the Saturday before that Monday? Or would you play it at a different day and time? I know some of you that really put a lot of thought into this stuff. I would love to see your comments and your thoughts on this, because I do think this is a model that would be great for fans. I think it would still be something for G5 conferences to compete for, as long as they don't lose their access to the CFP. Now, again, as I've already said, should this GFP-esque model exist, it would probably mean the CFP would just completely eliminate the G5s from the CFP altogether. I don't want to see that, but what are your thoughts on what I just put up, those two different models? How else could this work? What am I missing? What else do we need to think about here? I think one of the things that has got to happen, if not this year, within the next 2 years, is we see a G5 upset victory in their CFP matchup. Don't know if that's going to be possible depending on how it plays out, but I think what would certainly help the cause is, as I said earlier, if you could get a 3-loss conference champion and an undefeated or 1-loss G5 champion to hopefully get that 4th seed. Anyways, that's it for me today. Thank you again for watching. Please like, subscribe, turn the notifications on. If you're watching still, you've watched it till the end, now leave a comment, share it with a friend. I'll see y'all next time. Trey Smith, College Underdogs.